Hello, my Bill 5000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. All right, we are back with Mike and another That Chapter. I get so excited for some That Chapter. I don't know, just something about Mike's sense of humor makes the day just that much better. All right, this one is titled "The Craigslist Killer," Richard Beasley. Let's go ahead and get into today's story. Go ahead, turn the mics down low, put on something comfy, cuddle up with someone special. Let's get entertained. It's going to be entertaining. Mike, it's always entertaining.
Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, what have I got for you today? It's one of those stories about Craigslist. Honestly, it's dying since its heyday in, what's that, 2013? Well, our story
Be honest with you, I have never got jack shit off of Craigslist. I don't trust Craigslist. I've seen way too many fucked up stories on YouTube about Craigslist. And this is just another one. Yay.
takes us to 2 years before that, the autumn of 2011. Then, in Ohio, northern Florida, I mean, let's be honest, they're really like angling for that weird stuff happens here sort of vibe. I mean, it's always, I mean, here, just look at the Cleveland Browns. Where was I? And if you'd like to see a new That Chapter video twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, please subscribe. That'd be great. But sure, don't let me tell you what to do.
He's right, though. I'm from Ohio, and I don't even like the Cleveland Browns. If I'm not mistaken, they stopped being a team for a while. My dad's mom, my granny, she's from Cleveland originally. Love the Cleveland Browns. My dad loves the Cleveland Browns. I like San Francisco 49ers. Go ahead, let me hear it. I know, it is what it is. But I like them. When I liked them, we had Jerry Rice, Steve Young. Like, I mean, dream team from hell and back, bro. Like, yeah. Yeah. All right. Don't give me too much shit.
Oh yeah, someone there was placing ads. Ads looking for a worker to watch over the farm. 300 bucks a week plus room and board. Not bad if you're looking to get away from it all for a bit. Or if you're running away from
That's not bad at all. Like, did he pay cash? Shit.
it all, as some of these fine folk were. Sounds too good to be true. And it was. Let's give it a go. Autumn or fall, Ohio seems like a lovely old place to be. You get your beautiful, vibrant colors of, death. You get that real good autumn foliage smell. The weather is great, the air is moist. Honestly, autumn is the best season, and frankly I won't hear otherwise, and what puts it over the top is it is spooky season.
I agree 100%. I love autumn. Like, don't get me wrong, I love winter. Dude, I love the snow. It makes everything look clean. I don't know, it's just that fresh white powder just gives it that elegant look. I love winter, but I love autumn. I do. The leaves are turning colors. It is spooky season from hell and back. Everything's pumpkin spice. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah.
The pumpkins, the witches, the ghosts, the monsters are out. And they were out in this eerie season. Noble County lies in southeastern Ohio. Not hugely populated, it's full of...
I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I'm not personally picking out videos about Ohio. Like, I didn't know. Damn. Like, I'm from Ohio, and I feel like I'm, like, bashing these people. It's so awful. I swear to God, I'm really not.
forests and wilds. And it was there that Scott Davis arrived, and he was excited and eager to begin his new job. It sounded just perfect for him, and what he was about. Scott Davis was 48 years of age. He was moving back to Ohio from South Carolina, where he'd been working landscaping for about 15 years. It wasn't to be a permanent move though. He had a girlfriend, he had a life back in South Carolina, but his mother up in Akron needed some help. So the plan was to move over for a couple of months, help the L one through the dark days of winter.
I have family in Akron. Bro, they some crazy fuckers. And I do mean some crazy fuckers. I don't even want to go into why they are because, yeah, we're moving on.
And so he thought to himself, well, hey, may as well, get some scarol while I'm at it, So he was looking for a job just to keep him going for a couple of months, and then he saw this ad on Craigslist. The advertisement, it went like this. Simply watch over a 688-acre patch of hilly farmland and feed a few cows. You get $300 a week and a nice 2-bedroom trailer. Someone older and single preferred, but will consider all. Blah blah blah. Nearest neighbor is a mile away. The place is secluded and beautiful. It will be a real getaway for the right person. Job of a lifetime. If you're ready to relocate, please contact ASAP. Position will not stay open. Read it and weep. I mean that literally. Scott did not know it at the time.
Sounds fucking amazing. Like back in the day, I would love to go to some place like that. Get paid to live there and feed your cattle. Plus, you got some beef cattle too, bud. And all the fish I can fucking eat. Bro. You got yourself a deal, buddy. Now, is there some land that I can, like, plant me some taters? Like, I'd love to have me some baby reds out there and some Yukon Gold. Some fried taters on some fish. Shit. I mean, not no more. Most of you know I don't eat meat, but back in the day, bro, I've been on that like possum eating shit.
Time, obviously. But that advert was written by a serial killer.
Never mind.
Scott, he was dying to answer. He did the old clackety clackety, and he got a reply from Jack. Jack was the name of the person who posted that ad. Jack said, "You're a hotshot. You don't play by the rules, and neither do I. You're hired. Welcome aboard." And so they met at a diner, Shoney's in Marietta. Marietta is just over the border in neighboring Washington County. And there, Scott had a sit down with Jack and Jack's nephew, Brogan. They seemed grand, farmer types, and Jack, that was kind of like a little preliminary interview. Jack said, "All right, Scott, I like you. You got what it takes. I'm happy to have you watch over my place." So Jack said, "Hop in the back of the truck. We'll take you to the farm, show you around the place." They went out and drove, and drove, and drove. Into the deep wilderness. So deep, Sasquatch would have to ask for directions. No mobile phone service.
Hey, Bigfoot never has to ask for directions. Wherever he's going is where he needs to be.
All there was to see was the reds and browns of autumn woods. The wind, the leaves, and the rain, which is never too far away. At one point, while they were on the road, Jack said to Brogan, who was driving, "Here, listen, pull in over here, would you? On the side of the woods, on the side of the road. I need to get some equipment for the farm. It's near where we shot that deer last time." And so Jack and Scott, they got out. Scott said he'd give him a hand, and they started walking into the forest. At one point, while walking, Jack got behind Scott, and Scott heard a click, and then heard a muttered, "Fuck." When he turned, Jack had a gun trained on him. Scott realized that he was the next deer, and Jack started firing.
Fuck.
Scott wasn't the first person to reply to that ad. In fact, over a couple of months, hundreds of people had applied. Scott also wasn't.
So he would just do that? Like, there was never a trailer, there was never any fish, he'd just take you out to the woods, shoot you in the face? Well, that's just shitty. That's why I don't like people walking behind me. I can't, no. Mm-mm. And when I'm in the car, I like to sit in the back seat. I don't like for people to sit in the back seat behind me either. I don't know why. That's just how I am. And it goes to show you, you can't trust no one that's behind you. No, I don't want to hear a click, click, boom. Taking a nice leisurely stroll through the beautiful autumn woods of Ohio. At least there was a beautiful scenery.
The first person to be successful in his application. A couple of months before Scott took a drive into the woods in August 2011, Ralph Geiger was 56 years of age. Life wasn't going the way he had hoped. He was out of work at the time, living in a homeless shelter in Akron, Ohio. He was a native Ohioan, had lived in California for about 20 years before returning to Ohio in the 90s and opening his own remodeling business. But the economy, that bloody economy, first went the business, then went the bank account, then went the house. But Ralph, he was adamant he wanted to get back to work. He was staying at a homeless shelter, but every day he would go to the library and was applying for jobs, anything he could get. He wanted to get back on.
Yeah, I respect that. Don't let life keep you down, people. Grab yourself by your bootstraps and keep on going.
His feet as soon as possible, but it's tough. With every rejection comes another blow to your confidence, and the desperation grew. But it was in late summer 2011 that he saw and applied for this ad, the very same one Scott did. And Ralph, like Scott, was successful. He was so excited he drove down towards Noble County. He slept in his car the night before. He thought, finally! After months of applying and rejection, things were starting to look up. But unfortunately, he was never heard from again.
Damn.
In mid-October, just a couple of weeks before Scott Davis, a man named David Pauly, he saw that ad on Craigslist. He was excited about it. He thought it would be perfect for him. And so he wrote this email. David was 51 years of age, a divorced father of one, and he too was out of work. A recession had put an end to the countless temp jobs he had worked. He was in the middle of depression and he was trying to do something. He surfed ads on Craigslist and he came across, you know, the one. Maybe that was exactly what he needed, a getaway, new surroundings. He was living with his brother in Norfolk, Virginia, and being out there in the woods would do him the world of good. He was last heard from on the 22nd of October, staying at a motel on his way to Ohio. He was talking to his sister who lived in Maine, and he said, hey, you know, you might not hear from me for a while. There's no cell service in many parts of Noble County. It sure was a while before he was heard from again.
Damn.
And then, it was only 2 weeks later that Scott replied to that ad and met with Jack and his nephew Brogan in Marietta, and they went for a drive. Though there was one difference. That night, this 911 call was made.
911, what's your emergency? We just had a gentleman come up to our front door. He claims that he's been shot. He's got blood on him.
See, Scott had somehow managed to survive. When he was walking and he heard a click coming from behind him, that was probably the gun, Jack's gun, misfiring. And so when he turned around and saw Jack pointing at him, going to shoot again, he managed to swipe the gun, and the bullet instead hit him in the elbow. Scott then took off running, with Jack chasing him and gunshots ringing out the entire time, whizzing by his head, hearing the rustle and broken branches behind him.
Damn. So basically, he was just a really lucky motherfucker. Holy shitballs, Batman. I mean, I can't say I blame him if it misfired. Yeah, I'm going, fuck. Smack it up out of his hand, run like a motherfucker. It's just a miracle he came across someone's front door. Ooh. What the fuck? That's some lucky shit, bro. I don't have that kind of luck.
He ran for his life and eventually managed to.
So he was just going to shoot this poor fella in the back of the head. No. If you're going to have the balls to take my life, have the balls to look me in the face when you do it. You know what I mean? I want you to watch the life leave my eyes. No, you don't get an easy little bitch way out of it. No. Look me in my face. Like I said, you gonna have the balls to shoot me. Look me in the eye when you do it. You ain't taking my life without seeing my face whenever I die. Fuck that.
Lose Jack. Scott hid in the forest then, listening intently for any crunch of dry leaves, any breathing, any cars, any dogs, anything at all. His arm was gushing blood, his elbow shattered. He remained in these lonely woods for about 8 hours as darkness fell and the moon rose. Eventually, feeling that, under the cover of night, he should be okay, he walked. He walked and he walked until he found the house, and the police were called. The sheriff of Noble County arrived about 15 minutes later, and when he spoke to Scott Davis about what had happened, this guy had tried to kill him, he didn't have a clue what he was talking about. He didn't know anything about a 680-acre ranch in those woods. He didn't know any Jack. But Jack wasn't done yet. The police needed to find out who Jack was, and one thing they knew was that he had been at a diner with Scott. And so they tried to get these CCTV footage, but shit happens. There had literally been a fire in the office the night before, and the footage was damaged, so it would take time to try and recover it, get some good quality stuff. In the meantime, though, this story hit the papers. A guy, he applies for a job.
Ain't that some shit? Just happens there's a fire the night before. Don't you just love how shit works out for some people like that? Ain't that some bullshit?
Job on Craigslist, gets taken into the woods, and somebody tries to murder him. It was on a few of the front pages. Well, maybe not front pages, but it was a big enough story that it was out there. Someone read it and thought it sounded, mighty familiar. That someone was Deborah Bruce. See, she had been wondering what the heck happened to her brother, David Pauly. She had tried calling and calling to no answer, and so she had been Googling about stuff happening in the area in hopes of finding something. And so she saw that article, called the police in Noble County, and said her brother had answered a job that sounded exactly like that one, and she hadn't heard from him since. Hearing this, the police soon believed that a killer was out there in the woods, luring men in. The police went out into those woods, trying to find where Jack had tried to kill Scott Davis. And as I said, this is the deepest of the deep. But after 2 days, they found it. See, Scott had dropped a baseball cap while running. And not far, they found a grave. A grave that had been pre-built for Scott. These lads didn't waste any time at all. And so if there's one, maybe there's another deer close by.
Another deer.
Cadaver dogs are brought in, and not far away, they caught a scent. And digging, they found another body in the damp dirt. He had been shot in the back of the head, and it was determined to be David Pauly. And a few days later, not too far away,
I'm telling you, if you have the balls to take another person's life, have the balls to do it to their face. Don't do it. No, don't shoot someone in the back. Man, that's fucked up. That pisses me off more than anything. At least let them know their death is coming, you know what I mean? I want to put up at least a fight or struggle or say no or oh shit or something. Not just...
they found another grave. A body, but no ID.
A Florida man is dead, and a South Carolina man is recovering from a gunshot wound after investigators say they responded to a bogus Craigslist ad for a job on a southeast Ohio cattle farm. Police say that on November 6th, the South Carolina man traveled to Ohio and was met by two other men who apparently said they were taking him to the farm near Caldwell. But instead, they took him to a heavily wooded location, saying that a road to the farm had been closed. That's when he heard a gun cocked behind him, which was pointed at his head.
As he was running from the gunman, he was shot in the arm.
The man was able to escape and spent several hours hiding before he was able to contact police. That's when the investigation deepened. Just days later, a woman called authorities concerned her brother was missing. She said she had last spoken to him on October 22nd, after he said he was traveling from Florida on his way to the same Ohio farm.
If the gunman had planned to kill and bury victim number 1, then it is possible there is a victim number 2.
Possible there's victim number 3.
at this point, shit getting pretty real. The sheriff's office.
God only knows how many there is. I mean, that's just the ones we know about. There could be other ones, other places.
The Noble County Sheriff's Office called the FBI to come in. What they needed the FBI to do was to find out who had posted this ad. They've got two dead bodies and one attempted murder. Who is luring men into the woods? So the FBI, they were able to trace who had placed that ad via their IP address. And examining the ads, by the way they were written, and a couple of things they learned later, the poster of the ads was looking for a very particular person. Someone who wouldn't mind being alone for some time. Someone who could go off the reservation and people wouldn't come looking for them. He was looking for older people, and men only. When women would respond to the ad, Jack wouldn't reply at all. If people got to the interview stage, if they said they were married or had any kind of combat training or martial arts, Jack, he would nip that in the bud. He would say, "Thanks for applying, you'll hear from me." They never did, of course. He wanted older men who could disappear without too many questions being raised, and people who may not be able to put up.
He put a lot of fucking thought into that. I don't think this is the first time that it ever happened. I mean, probably first time it ever happened there, but I think he's done that before, other places. Spilled in my skeleton bones. Skeleton bones. It's too planned out, too precise, too perfect. You know what I mean? I don't think it was his first rodeo. I just don't.
Too much of a fight. Ralph Geiger, David Pauly, and Scott Davis met this criteria, as did Tim Kern. 47-year-old Timothy Kern was, like the others, well, he was out of work. He needed a job, and he thought he found a great one on Craigslist. Looked perfect. But that would mean...
So is this another one too? So that puts us up to the one that got away, the two other ones, and now him. So this is the fourth person?
He would have to move, and he loved his 3 sons. He didn't want to part with them. Since his divorce over a decade prior, his sons were his everything. But in the end, he decided to make a go of it. He responded to the ad on the 10th of November, 2 days after Scott Davis was almost murdered. On the 12th, Tim stopped by his sons, and he said his goodbyes. He was on his way to Ohio. He was never heard from again.
So this is 2 days after you go. That motherfucker's ballsy as shit, bro.
And it was after Tim Kern disappeared that the investigation really began, when Deborah Bruce called in saying her brother was missing in the same area. And it was around then, a couple weeks later, that the FBI were able to trace that IP address, the person who placed the ad. They were able to trace it to an IP address in Akron, Ohio, a house there. A house owned by one Joe. Joe said he didn't use Craigslist, those ads were not his. He also never knew no Jack. But he did say a man had been renting a room here till recently. So who is this Jack? Well, Jack shit, that's who. The police had also been able to restore the CCTV footage from the diner, and so they were able to identify who it was. A Noble County local named Richard Beasley. When Joe was shown this, he recognized the man. He didn't know no Richard. That man had introduced himself, Joe said, as Ralph Geiger. The police didn't know they'd already found Ralph Geiger. That was Richard Beasley's first victim. They also learned who Richard was with, and his name really was Brogan Rafferty. He was a high school student, and Richard had taken him under his serial killing wing. Brogan was swiftly arrested.
Wanted an apprentice? I don't think this is the first time he's ever done this kind of shit, people. I'm telling you. For one, the crime was too perfect. And I'm not saying that from like a really fucked up point of view. I'm just saying the crime was too perfect. Looking for the perfect people to kill. No one thinks about that. If you've never done it before, you just want to kill someone, you're just going to kill someone. You don't think about anything go wrong unless it has before. Maybe he's done it whenever he was younger, and now that he's older, he's like, I can't fight like I used to. I don't want to have to deal with people struggling or whatever the case may be. And now he's bringing in an apprentice to teach him his ways. Like,
I'm taking it. Now this guy, Dick over here, he's a big old sack of shit. Rick Beasley was born in 1959, a native of Akron, Ohio. He was raised mostly by his mother, a secretary, and after school, Richard went on to work as a machinist. He was in and out of jail for a lot of his life. He did 5 years in Texas for burglary. Immediately after, he did another 7 for firearms offenses. He later then went on the run back to Ohio. He didn't really want to stick around in Texas for the whole, parole thing. And so, when he went back home, he had to reinvent himself. And reinvent himself, he did. He found good old God. Serial killers are a serious business, except this guy who's a kindly old man from hell. Preacher Beasley, they called him in Akron, and he went to church every day. He also, in the meantime, got a little bit addicted to opioids after a car accident, and then he stopped working and stopped making money. It was at the church he met Brogan Rafferty, son of a man Richard knew through the motorcycle circuit. He took young Brogan under his wing, talked to him, about the importance of staying in school, saying no to drugs, kids. Richard later, in his goodwill, founded a halfway house, and he would drive around looking for girls on the street he could help. Sex workers, drug addicts, strays, whomever. Wow, what a guy! Nope. Richard soon began pimping them out. He became Pepper Jack. However, the police soon started catching on, and Richard needed to reinvent himself once more. And so he began preying on another vulnerable member of society, those itinerant and out of work. He would steal their money and their identity.
this dude's just a big bag of shit, bro. Man. I swear, people, not everyone from Ohio is as bad as the people that's been on here. Please believe me. What the fuck? Like, I don't know. There's a lot of stupid people everywhere you go, but damn. Like every video I've chosen anymore is like some dick from Ohio killed someone. It's like, oh.
Brogan Rafferty agreed to tell everything and to testify against Richard in return for reduced charges. Brogan was there when Richard took Ralph Geiger, victim number 1, out into the woods. And it would be the very same place he would later take David and then Scott. Brogan, he later wrote a poem about it. We took him out to the woods on a humid summer's night. I walked in front of them. They were going back to the car. I didn't turn around. The loud crack echoed, and I didn't hear the thud. The two of us went back to the car for the shovels. He was still there when we returned. He threw the clothes into a garbage bag, along with the personal items. I dug the hole. It reached my waist when I was in it, maybe 4 feet wide. We put him in with difficulty. They call them stiffs for a reason. We showered him with lime like a satanic baptism. It was like we were excommunicating him from the world. And after Richard...
That's a horrible fucking poem. No, not all poems rhyme. I'm just saying, that's a horrible fucking poem. I didn't like it at all. I give it 2 thumbs down. Way, way down. Oh. Why? Okay. Why are you going to write a poem about being a dumb fucking serial killer? That's stupid. That's dumb. You're an idiot. Why? Oh, sweet baby Jesus.
It assumed Ralph Geiger's identity. He dyed his hair. He changed his clothes. He cut his facial hair. He got a job. And he liked what he had done. He thought, well, you know what, that was pretty sweet. I'll do it again. After all, these were men on the margins, and so would travel with most, if not all, their worldly possessions in the back of a U-Haul truck. Richard sold it all. For one thing, Scott Davis had told Richard he was bringing his Harley. Richard liked that. Richard's final victim was Tim Kearns, and was much the same as the previous ones. Only he took him somewhere else. Behind a dead mall in Akron, Brogan dug the grave. They got all this from Brogan. The police didn't actually know where Richard Beasley lived. They actually got lucky arresting him. Richard didn't know that Joe, the person he'd been renting a place from for a short time, he didn't know Joe had been talking to the police, that they had traced his IP address. So he called Joe and he left him his number and a message, and the police were then able to trace his phone. He was arrested on the 16th of November, 3 days after he murdered Tim Kern. He was charged with the murders of Ralph Geiger, David Pauly, Tim Kern, and the attempted murder of Scott Davis, along with a plethora of other charges.
Accused Craigslist killer Richard Beasley was in court just a few
Shitbag motherfucker, though. Look at it.
hours ago, and so was his mother, who told us her son is innocent until proven guilty.
I believe he's completely innocent, and my prayer is that the Lord will bring truth to the foresight. So I'm just praying for strength and for him.
Beasley and now 17-year-old Brogan Rafferty are accused of using Craigslist to lure men to rural areas to rob them. 3 victims died. Prosecutors say Beasley tried to kill a 4th man who managed to survive. In court today, Beasley complained he was not getting any pain medication.
He said simply, "Did you send this paper?" I said, "Yes." He said, "We're not going to prescribe you anything." I said, "So you're denying me medication again?" He said, "Yes."
Okay, did you have anything to do with these killings?
Bro, you killed 3 people and attempted to kill another person. We don't give a fuck about your pain medicine, bud. We give about as much of a fuck about your pain medicine as you did the people that you killed. Oh. I'd bitch slap the taste out of his mouth. I'm sorry, I would. Fuck that dude.
No comment. Not at all? Is there anything that the world should know about you?
Brogan, are there any more bodies?
No comment. What do you have to say to those families? Jesus. Anything? Sorry. You're sorry?
Brogan Rafferty would later recant. He would poo-poo the plea deal. He didn't want to go against Richard Beasley. I guess he had some kind of hold on him. He shouldn't have recanted.
Well, as I said before, I trusted him. And as I got to know him better personally, he became sort of my spiritual mentor and a counselor of sorts.
Did you ever think that he would harm somebody?
Only if there was a reason for it, such as protecting a loved one.
He never gave you any indication that he would harm people otherwise?
No.
Was there a point in your life when your opinion of Richard Beasley had changed?
Absolutely.
And when was that?
That was the morning that he murdered a man in front of me.
Did you think you were going to die?
Yes.
Did you ever want Mr. Geiger to die?
No.
Did
he
you?
was a very nice man.
He went on trial later in 2012, and he would now face the full charge.
I'm going bullshit. I mean, I can't see all of his face, but you don't see no remorse in those eyes. I'm going bullshit. Be thrown under the jail bed.
Of multiple murders.
Brogan Rafferty assisted Richard Beasley in the execution of 3 individuals, and not for the grace of God, it would have been 4. He did that purposely with the intent for all 4 of those individuals to die. You don't dig graves just to hurt when you're just going to hurt somebody. You dig graves when you're going to kill somebody.
Richard Beasley was the teacher in this situation. Brogan Rafferty was the student. Do not let him deceive you.
17-year-old Brogan Rafferty would be sentenced to life without parole.
Yeah.
Brogan did.
Get your little. No, bruh. Hope you're in there getting it. Oh, fucking trash. I'm sorry. Leave your hateful comments in the comment section. It's right down there. Just go ahead. I don't give two damns. I'm sorry. You knew, bud. For one, that old fucker was not out there digging them holes by himself. Your young piddly ass was out there digging them holes with him. The dude even said, "Hey, you remember we shot that last year? We all know the code name, bud. Don't sit there and try to act like we stupid. You was just as much a part of it. You a fucked up individual. Enjoy life in prison. Bubba's gonna say hi to that booty hole."
Didn't really have much of a chance in life. His dad worked non-stop, his mother was a drug addict, and so it's not surprising he would try and find someone else to look up to. Unfortunately, that was Mr. Beasley. Fucking hell. He would have been better off looking up to the dog.
I wanted to point out, more than anything in this,
I don't give a fuck who you're trying to look up to. You don't join someone for murder. It's like, we are bonding. Yay. For anyone out there, if you're having a fucked up life, don't make it worse by having a serial killer for a mentor. They come to you and say, hey, let's kill somebody today. Say no. Find you a new mentor. Just saying. I don't get bitch slapped that little choke mother. Too many cuss words one time filling my brain. Chode.
all the notes that I took for this whole trial is that the idea was first brought up at the beginning of this trial that there were only 4 victims.
That lady right there looks like she wants to bitch slap him. It's like, man, shut your lily ass up. Bitch slap you. Bitch slap him, lady. I'd bitch slap him if I was her.
Mr. Geiger, Mr. Pauly, Mr. Kern, and Mr. Davis. But I think that there are many more. All these family members that came out here today. None of them, have been mentioned until this morning that they were victims of all this. I would just like to say that I was involved. I didn't like it. I wouldn't do it if I had any.
Look at her face. Look at her face. Let me take that back. Just hold on. Watch her face, y'all.
I would just like to say that I was involved. I didn't like it. I wouldn't do it if I had any other choice. Which 2020 hindsight vision, there are many options that I couldn't see at the time, but I can see now. Nothing I can do to make anything better.
She's got this most concerned, constipated look I've ever seen on someone's face. Right, he's guilty. That fool did it. Don't let him lie to you. I don't even want to be standing up here next to him right now. He makes me look bad by association.
Richard went on trial in 2013. He pleaded not guilty.
Referred to 53-year-old Richard Beasley as a wolf in sheep's clothing. Well, today he was dressed in a dark suit and came into the courtroom in a wheelchair.
Scott Davis then pulled out a revolver and pointed it at my head, and I threw my hands up and about urinated in my pants. And I just said, why? And he explained why. He said, brother, you're a weak link. It means he knew I was a rat, an informant.
He was sentenced to death in April 2013.
Yeah.
To hereby find that the aggregate.
How's that dick tasting your own ass, bitch? How you gonna sit there and try to act like the person you shot tried to shoot you? One thing that kind of pisses me off is he got the death penalty. I want him getting it in the butt for a minute. For a minute. The rest of his life, actually.
Aggravating circumstances that the defendant was found guilty of committing do outweigh the mitigating factors presented in this case by proof beyond a reasonable doubt. We therefore unanimously find that the sentence of death should be imposed on Richard James Beasley.
I say here today, officially and for the record,
Everyone, golf clap. Everyone golf clap. We gotta do it. Come on. You join in. Make you feel better. Made me feel better. Made me feel damn good.
I have killed
Fucking redneck, ugly ass Santa Claus looking motherfucker.
nobody.
Richard Beasley is still on death row as of today. And that, my friends, is the story of one of the many Craigslist killers. A big ol' sack of shit monster on the run, wannabe preacher, actual killer, identity stealing asshole. A guy who was very particular about what he did, who he...
Like I said before, I've heard way too much fucked up shit about Craigslist. I've never been on Craigslist. I never intend to be on Craigslist. I do not give a damn about Craigslist. There's some fucked up people in the world, bro.
did it to and where he did it. He had a victim in mind and he knew how to get away with them. He almost got away with it too. If that gun hadn't jammed, Scott Davis would have been killed and no one would have been alerted to the killer in the woods. By the way, guys, this is like, I don't know, like, I think it's the third killer person using Craigslist to find victims, either by luring them in or looking for people to kill. So really, just stop using Craigslist. It's like, who else? We'd Philip Markoff, the guy from Boston, and there's definitely others. So basically, just stop using Craigslist, full stop. I mean, I think from the Google Trends people are, but just to be safe, guys. Because as you can see, as you can tell, it's pissing everybody off. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you watching this solo video with me.
Thank you, Mike. I always enjoy your videos. Dude, they are choice. Alright. Like I've said 100 times, I don't do Craigslist. There's way too much that goes wrong. I believe it was Llama Arts. We used to do them on this channel a long time ago. It's an animated thing where they tell like fucked up stories, like I like to do. Love Llama Arts. And yeah, one of them was like this dude pulled in to pick up some furniture, I think, for his kid. He had his kid in the car with him, and like I'm pretty sure it was like a group of bikers was ready to kill them both. It was fucked up. It was fucked up. Yeah, it was fucked up. No, way too many messed up stories. You hear these messed up stories all the time. I mean, I'm weary of Facebook Marketplace. I'm weary of, if I can't go to a store and get it, I'm good. I'll go to a used store. I will go to a secondhand store. I will go to a regular store. I will go to a super store. I will go to the ultimate super hyper deluxe store. I don't care. I do not want to meet someone for any reason. Like if I've talked to them a little bit and I've gotten the feel of them, maybe in a very public place. But yeah, come out to my abandoned 600 some acre farm where no one will hear you squeal like a pig, boy. No, fuck that. I'm good. It ain't happening. No one needs to do that shit. Alright. If you're a fan of the spooky, scary, strange, deranged, think about subscribing. If you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up. As always, be good to one another. I'll see you in the next one. And bye-bye. Yeah, how is your big ass gonna sit there and try to say, he pulled the gun on me? Bro, we done got the other dude's confession already. You done killed like 3 other people. What was your excuse? Did they all say the same thing? They all lured you out into the woods? Man, if that's the case, then you dumber than you fucking look. You know what I mean? Like, don't give me that bullshit.